Hello and welcome back to another episode of Generation Films. My name is American Ben. The main ingredients for producing a quality show are pretty universal across all genres. I don't think I'm going out on a limb in saying that compelling drama requires good acting, writing, directing, casting, and so on. That said, there are some unique elements required for shows of certain genres to be successful. For instance, in medieval fantasy, gratuitous sex and violence is a must. As a matter of fact, let's not bullshit. That's what I come for in the first place. On the other hand, when it comes to sci-fi, you don't have to shock audiences with awesome decapitations and incest, but you gotta have good ships. What is Star Wars without the Star Destroyer or Millennium Falcon? What is Halo without the UNSC Infinity? What is Star Trek without the Enterprise? Oh well, I guess we already figured that one out. It's shit. But anyway, when I turned on The Expanse, I wondered if the show would deliver on the ships.
Disse, oye beltalowda, kewe tu pense ere ships, mi se, but right now, mi pensa dis tu mang did a good one.
The ships are really cool. Yeah, the ships are really cool. The spacecrafts in The Expanse fill me with more spiritual joy than a Mormon on a 100-year journey aboard the Nauvoo. As I began to watch The Expanse and experience the wondrous and magnificent version of the great void that the show depicts, I also wondered what the show's iconic ship would be. Ah, it's the Canterbury, a giant ice-hauling colony ship. Nope, not it. Ah, then it must be the Doniger, the imposing flagship of the Martian Congressional Republic Navy's Jupiter fleet. Nope, not that either. Instead, what we got was a small attack ship. A Corvette-class light frigate known as the Tachi and later renamed the Rocinante by its crew. That's it, that's the ship, a 46-meter-long vessel that can barely house 12 crew. And goddammit, I just used the metric system. I must be infected with the Protomolecule. Quick, somebody kill me. Anyway, I thought to myself, a goddamn escape ship attached to a bigger and cooler ship is what we're stuck with? And now, having watched through this show, I think I can say with all confidence that the Rocinante might be the most well-done ship I've ever seen in any science fiction show ever. I think many of the great ships in science fiction are defined by their power or size or speed. But if I had to come up with a single defining characteristic or a single word to describe the Rocinante, I probably would go with intuitive. It's so easy to use, which is exactly what one should expect of a ship in the future. See, The Expanse's creators clearly took great effort to really think about what the future actually might look like in the 24th century, and the Rocinante is a reflection of that effort, and the result is fantastic. And so today, especially being that there isn't a lot of info on the Roci out there, no in-depth wiki pages or other databases, I want to offer you all in lockdown a comprehensive breakdown of the ship's features. And if you point out any mistakes I make, I'm gonna space your ass. Just kidding. Being that there are no in-depth wiki pages or other databases, as I just said, I put this video together from copious notes that I took as I watched the series. So I might very well indeed make mistakes or miss things, so I am relying on you to use the comment section to complete the video by correcting my mistakes and filling in what I missed. To get the conversation started, the first thing you have to understand about the ship is that you should think about it more vertically and less horizontally. It's built like a building, layered floor by floor from its reactor at the bottom to its flight deck at the top. In other words, if the ship was on Earth and stood up vertically and you walked inside it, everything would be oriented normally. When the pilot is sitting in the flight deck, he isn't facing what you might call the nose or bow of the ship. He's facing what you would think of as the floor of the ship, though his seat can lean backward or forward and rotate for comfortability and orientation. This is something that The Expanse really gets right. It's physics, because remember, in space, direction loses most of its meaning as everything's really dark and there's only microgravity. The Rocinante uses thrust to create a sort of artificial gravity with g-forces, as in the standard acceleration is about 1g, providing for an environment not unlike Earth's. And when the ship is under thrust, the direction towards the ship's engines would be considered down, as there is force pulling on the crew aboard the ship toward what I guess we would consider the rear of the ship. But when the ship is in free fall, there is no up or down, as free fall can happen in any direction in zero gravity. And of course, when the ship is motionless, there's zero G inside, as we see exemplified by the Martian Texans' Country Serenade.
I've never seen a night so long.
God, I love The Expanse. Anyway, let's talk about thrust.
Yeah! Can you feel that, buddy? Huh? Huh? Huh?
The Rocinante has what's known as an Epstein Drive, which is a somewhat unexplained modified fusion drive that was invented by scientist Solomon Epstein some 130 plus years before the events in The Expanse take place. Unfortunately, Solomon died while testing his creation when it malfunctioned. God damn it, Hillary! Not this Epstein too. Anyway, the Epstein Drive uses magnetic coil exhaust acceleration to increase drive efficiency, and thus allows the ship to sustain thrust all the way to Uranus and beyond if necessary. The Rocinante can use its Epstein Drive to accelerate halfway to its destination, then flip around and decelerate the rest of the way. Given that we don't know the mass of the ship or the percentage of the ship that's made up by fuel, it's impossible to know its exact total delta V, or its change in velocity, that can be achieved by burning the rocket's entire fuel load. That said, some really smart people have made guesses that seem to come in around 4,000 kilometers per second, or about 1.33% the speed of light. We also know that when the Rocinante departed from the Doniger, it did a high G burn at about 5 G for 10 to 11 hours, which would result in the ship going at about 1,800 kilometers per second, or 0.6% the speed of light. However, while tracking Eros, Alex claimed that at max acceleration, the ship can do about 15 to 20 Gs. And we saw firsthand that it was able to keep up with Eros the Angry Space Being for a good while when they were chasing it. Of course, at such high acceleration, the force pulling on the crew becomes so great that, as Alex warns, they could burst blood vessels. This is why we see the crew struggling when in high G burns, and why they have to be strapped in and medicated with some sort of special adrenaline drug that's fed into them through their seats. Though I am kind of suspicious that Amos's chair is just injecting venom into him, the same drug used by Bane. In terms of the physical components that create the ship's propulsion and movement, the Rocinante has an acceleration thruster and multiple control and landing thrusters that push the ship directionally. One thing that I really love about the Rocinante is the way that it uses its movement in seamless cooperation with its armament. For instance, it doesn't use much thrust when entering into combat. It doesn't really fly, it just kind of falls in style, an ode to Buzz Lightyear. Fighting the ship is like trying to fight a wasp. It wants to get in close and move around you to find an opening to sting. Its 6 40mm point defense cannons all have rotating heads that can roll with the ship and spit out continuous fire as the Rocinante falls around its target. The ship's fighting style is organized chaos. It's drunken master in space. Of course, if a sting isn't enough, the Rocinante has 2 torpedo launchers armed with 20 torpedoes that it can use for longer range and more devastating attacks. These torpedoes can be launched right from the arm of the crew's seats with the press of a button, and if needed, they can be piloted using the same control as a joystick. Sticking with the whole integrated theme, it only takes a few fingers to operate the ship's weaponry. The ship also houses a drone that can be piloted using the same controls, and when autopilot is switched off, this same button/joystick can also be used to pilot the ship. Again, the ship is super intuitive. Everything on it is very easy to use. There are single interfaces and controls for operating all of the ship's features. And everything is integrated. Everything runs on a singular system. Safe to say, Microsoft did not design this ship. The Rocinante is not some space jalopy like the Nostromo from Alien. It's a luxury ship wired for use with all the latest technology. HD screens are installed throughout the ship, and all of them can access the same network, databases, and control panels. The pilot himself doesn't look out a window because why would he want to look out of a window into a dark abyss when he can use electronic tools to see space around him in a far superior way? The pilot has a giant screen he uses to guide the ship that's integrated with software for scanning the star system and mapping his course through space, and the screens throughout the ship allow the crew to play their part in advancing the Rocinante along its journey. The screens can change feeds to a variety of external and internal cameras in order to monitor anywhere on the outside or inside of the ship, and even follow the crew as they embark on extravehicular missions. Software also allows for the screens to be used for scanning biological compositions of life forms, playing video games, aka running battle simulations, and it can be used for interplanetary video communication and for recording voice messages, a feature that the ship's resident MG Toe Alex uses to tell his wife and child he'd rather be in his spaceship than with them. But to be fair, those of you with wives and children out there would probably abandon them for the Rocinante too. I mean, spaceships you can turn off with the press of a button. In order to turn your wife or girlfriend off, she'd have to see you naked. Talk about a high G burn. Getting back on track here, computer tablets attached to the ship's seats are used to operate the screens when they're too far away for touch operation. The tablets can pretty much control all of the software and integrated hardware in the ship, and best of all, they can still be touch operated through the gloves the crew wears as part of their EVA suits. Like I said, everything on the ship is integrated and also probably proprietary. I'm not sure that third-party, Amazon-purchased USB chargers are going to work on the ship. And if the tablets and screens aren't enough, there are also portable mini tablets that the crew uses to control the systems in the ship, communicate with each other, activate alarms, read news feeds, and they can even be used as simple TV remotes. They don't work out of proximity of the ship though, most likely for security purposes. I mean, the ship is so damn intuitive and integrated that it's almost over the top. But Steve Jobs' consciousness has to continue to make money somehow, and yeah, given the uniformity of all the products on the ship, I'm guessing this could be Apple's handiwork. By the way, I'm not actually sure how the ship's tablets are linked to the computer systems and screens. It might be by Bluetooth, but given that the linking mechanism actually works, probably not. We do see devices plugged in at times, but they could just be charging, and god damn it, is that another type of tablet on the ship? Finally, the crew's meeting table on the command deck, which is right below the flight deck, functions as a sort of hub interface for the ship's computer. From this table, once again, the crew can operate the entire ship from inside and out, but this table has the added bonus of being able to project holographic interactive maps. Alright, so believe it or not, thus far, aside from the ship's engines, we've really only talked about the top two levels in the ship, which, to be fair, does constitute the ship's brain. But below the command deck, there is a storage bay where weapons are kept, along with lockers that contain the crew's EVA suits, which themselves can attach to the ship by air hose in order to supply oxygen to the crew during high-G maneuvers. The storage bay level also contains the upper airlock, Amos's preferred spot for spacing people. Then below that level is a medical bay. The first thing you'll notice about the med bay is that it looks comfortable as hell. I feel like Holden and Miller were just faking cancer to be able to chill in there. Nonetheless, if you're actually sick or have health issues, the med bay has all the requisite technology to provide care for you. There's computers that can run body and brain scans and medications such as cancer-killing drugs. For more invasive procedures, I'm sure the med bay contains sedatives as well, though if you're new to the ship and dumb enough to allow Amos to convince you that he's a doctor, he'll probably just take care of you on the command deck with a giant magnifying glass and pliers.
I thought you said you'd done this before.
I have, just not on someone else.
In any case, if something does go wrong during a medical procedure and you die on board, the ship has a morgue to get your carcass out of the way. Below the medical bay is the galley, where star cook Alex is known for his microwaved lasagna. The microwave, of course, is the primary method of cooking on the Rocinante, but on special occasions, the ship's acceleration thruster can be used for barbecues. The galley also houses an advanced device which Captain Holden values and loves more than anything else on the ship and perhaps in the entire universe. It's a futuristic machine called a coffee maker, and he gets a little weird about forcing coffee on people. Unfortunately, Holden loves the coffee maker the same way Chris Brown loves Rihanna. The ship has tea as well. Oh, and the dinette set is just to die for. Below the galley lies the crew quarters, where you'll find beds and bathrooms. And whoa. See, this is why we can't trust Martians. Did you see that? They don't wash their hands after they pee. This is why Holden is a captain. A true leader washes his hands after a good slag. Below the galley level is the machine shop where parts can be made. And below that and just above the reactor is the engineering room and a 2-level cargo bay, which on its lower level contains the lower airlock blast door. Finally, just a couple of notes about the outside of the ship. Within what I guess we would call the top side of the ship, closer to the ship's nose than its stern, is housed a retractable docking bridge, which can be used to connect the Rocinante with or even taxi other ships. And just below the nose of the ship and extending out forward is the ship's communication array, which is made up of, I would guess, transmitting and receiving antennas that support communication across space. Okay, Alex, you can power down. Anyway, those are all the ship's features that I could pick up as I watched the show. Now it is your turn. What did I miss? What did I leave out? I tried to be thorough. I tried to watch everything, but I'm not perfect, just damn close. Not close at all. So please comment down below and let me know what you know about the ship. I really hope you enjoyed this video. I love The Expanse. It was a lot of hard work, but because I'm enjoying the show so much, it felt like fun doing it all. Definitely give this video a like if you enjoyed it. Subscribe to our channel and hit that notification bell because more Expanse videos are on the way, beltalowda. For now, my name is American Ben, and I'll catch you next time. Generation Films, peace.